What's up, everyone? Welcome to Physio Monday. Today we are answering your questions and talking all things physio as we always do, but with a twist. This is Phil's last Physio Monday with us. He's leaving Unity Gym, not forever, but for temporary, so get your questions in.
What's up, everybody? It is Monday morning here in Sydney, Australia. It is a beautiful rainy day. The rain is coming down slightly of an angle, which is very rare, so we consider ourselves lucky. To my left is Phil White. Across the table is my brother Rad. Behind the mic, the voice of God is none other than the absolutely Adonis Richard Lellies. We are Unity Gym in the Unified Movement System. We teach driven people to become athletes. If you want to know how we do it, get amongst it. Get over here into the UMS Movement Mastermind group. If you're listening on the podcast, if you're watching the replay on YouTube, we love you. We love those channels, but this is where you get to interact with us live. You can also download our blueprints in the description and or go to our website, unitygym.com. What is up, everybody? Now, before we go any further, we need to just straighten a few things out here. We haven't been entirely honest. It is only a temporary farewell. Why don't you just quickly put everyone out of their misery and explain what's going on. You guys are going over to help the other side of the country, practically a whole nother country.
Practically.
They're trying to become their own country over there.
Tomorrow I am heading off to Western Australia. So Australia is a bloody large country, and I'm jumping on a 6-hour flight going to Perth and isolating for a couple of weeks. Then going to a little town called Kununurra, which is up in basically the middle of Australia, right in the top. And it's going to be a very small town. It's going to be 40 degrees every day, and I'm going to be there for about a month and a half. So I'll be away for a little while. I will be coming back. So
it's rural. It's very rural.
Yeah, it's really rural. My partner's a emergency doctor, and they're very in need of doctors over there at the moment. And so we're heading along, and I've got a lot of online business stuff that's near launching, and this is going to be a really good time for me to knuckle down and get that happening. So lots of it's been really hard in the clinic to kind of make that all happen. So I'm putting myself in a little isolation tank in Kununurra and just punching it out. So exciting times, but I will miss being in this in the gym and on the daily live shows.
For those of you in America, that's 104 degrees Fahrenheit every day that he's going to be in.
Yeah.
So just so you know, just so you understand.
It's the wet season as well, so it's going to be about 110% of humidity as well. So
yeah, 40 degrees with 100% humidity.
And over there in Kununurra, the rain comes in it literally sideways. So it's like someone throwing a bucket of water in your face every time you go outside.
Yeah. It's every time anybody says degrees to me in Fahrenheit, I wouldn't have a clue. I have no concept of how to do the calculation. So I thought I'd just let you guys know.
I'll be completely frank, I don't know whether the rain comes in sideways. That was total crap.
They have some serious storms up there, so it'll be interesting. But
Andy Lawson is saying, cool, my sister emigrated to Perth 2 years ago. Hopefully we'll make it over that side of the world someday. No one ever does, man. Once you go to Perth, you go into the vortex of people that nobody ever sees anymore.
It's kind of like the Bermuda Triangle over there.
Perth is actually the most isolated major city in the world, apparently. It's the furthest away from any other major city.
Just to be clear, if you think you're going to see me there, I'm about a 40-hour drive from Perth north. North
so if you thought Perth was in bumfuck nowhere, you have no idea.
So for all the Perth people on the live stream, we love you too. My partner, Kalisha, is from Perth, and I go over there a few times every year, and it is a beautiful place in the world.
40 hours or 40 Ks?
No. Where I'm going, Kununurra.
40 hours.
40-hour drive.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's a long
Australia's
way.
big.
It's a long way.
Yeah, but Western Australia is the most hugest. It's like, it's really funny when you look at Australia, the way they named the territories. We have Queensland because it was from the Queen, and then we have New South Wales, and then we have Victoria, all clearly named after England and the Queen. And then they went, South Australia, Northern Territory, and we'll call that Western Australia. And if you look at Western Australia, it's like by the time they got over, they went, that's just West Australia.
Yeah, we can't
we've got no more names.
It's literally half the country.
Yep.
It's a very big state.
Yep.
And the only state in surplus right now in the entire country. Everyone else is broke because they have all the mines over there. Most of them anyway. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, but on to physio things. So when I am away, we're trying to figure out ways of doing it. We've got these fancy headphones here, and we're looking at ways of me calling in, but it's quite likely we might do a pre-recorded one. So instead of being directly live. So that will just mean all the more importance to get your questions in, post them up on the group, and tag me in it so that we can.
So you'll just do a screen recording yourself.
Well, it'd be nice to talk to you guys. So
we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do. We have to a little bit of experimentation. It's a good opportunity to level up and figure out how to actually have someone call in. There's got to be ways because people do it.
Yep.
But we just have to figure it out.
Exactly right. So we're going to get into which question do we want to start with?
Let's start with the one from the online group coaching call last week.
Yeah, great. So when we were on the online coaching call, which is on the call, we really try and spend that time as if you were seeing a personal trainer and you're getting sort of technique advice on what you're doing. And we got a great question from Josh about injury stuff, but I thought we'd leave it to try and help out everyone on the Physio live show. So he said, the right side of my pelvis is rotated posteriorly, which is causing hypertonicity of the gluteal piriformis, erector spinae, and quadratus lumborum muscles, all on the right. Also has, I guess, chronic L3, where the vertebra isn't aligned properly, and now very restricted on movement, inflamed. Mild scoliosis of the thoracic spine and restricted movement joints throughout the thoracic spine. And so he's saying he's on testing week, and after holding his child for a couple of hours, has tweaked his back, and scoliosis is maxed out in the low end of the right lat, whereas there's constant pain and spasm. So he's been to a chiro and got some x-rays from the chiro. This is for his partner, sorry, and hasn't been able to relieve the pain, but is on road to correcting the tightness. Exhausted a day. Any thoughts on relieving the pain? So the reason I want to kind of talk about this is chiropractors and x-rays for back pain because it just...
This is intense, man. I didn't even read this on Friday. I wasn't on the show, that's right. I was only in the intro.
Yeah.
So he's saying you. So that's obviously been sent by the practitioner.
From the chiro.
Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to sell you a 50-pack of sessions so that we can keep you coming back for the next 12 years once a week.
Yeah. So
that'd be a 5,000 pack, but anyway. Yeah.
Anyway, so basically the chiro is, saying that there's a misalignments, there's scoliosis, and there's and they've done x-rays for it. And I just wanted to really highlight that, like, when you are looking at back pain, alignment is one of those words that comes up a lot for people with hips and backs, and it just, when you look at the human body, you can't just look at a thing and say that there is a problem because it doesn't line up straight. The body is just such a dynamic system that it just
so I think it's quite important to understand that that no human is that skeleton dude that you see in the corner of practitioners' offices. It's just nothing. No one is perfect. Yep. And we all have this.
Speak for yourself.
We all have this ambition to have the perfect human musculoskeletal structure, but it just doesn't really work that way. And it's just such a the kind of the way about when you just get an X-ray and look and try and look at things from such a mechanical model where you're just okay, here is things that we can see that are, in not straight, and then try and fix it. It totally ignores all of the kind of pain science and the way and the dynamic system. The skeleton is just one part of how the system works, and you've got, muscles that control that system. And so if you're only looking at one part of it, you kind of miss the brain component and the muscular component. And I think, Rad, you're a pretty good example of someone who's had some in the past, you've spinal changes with your pars defect and hyperlordotic sort of changes, and then looking at the way that your skeletal structure controls your body, and then also how your brain processes that those past sort of injury identity things, basically you get to the point where you're a very high performing individual, and there's sort of you're not limited by some structural morphological change. So
I've been told by people that were a lot more educated than I am, like surgeons, for example. I've been told that I would never do the things that I currently do now again, and 20 years ago from some of the things that happened in my body. And I didn't know anything beyond that. I just had a burning desire to do the things that I do. And I just remember when I was told that I'd never do it again, in my mind, I just said, fuck you. You're not going to tell me what I'm going to do or what I'm not going to do. And I've had to work really, really hard on overcoming like the things that you just described to be able to do what I can do. And what I pass on to people now, people sometimes ask me questions about, am I ever going to be able to do this? Or, am I going to have this for the rest of my life? Or is there any point in me trying to get better at this? And my answer is always, of course there is, because even if all you did was, if you did this work that was never going to make you better at something because you've got some morphological issue in your body, but even if all it did was prevent you from getting worse, that would still be time well spent, because everybody else is getting worse otherwise as you age. You whatever you've got going wrong in your body now, if you don't, in my opinion and my experience, if you don't work to try and better it, there's one thing guaranteed, it'll just keep getting worse, and you'll get to a point where what you had now in 5 years is what you wished you had. You'll be like, God, I wish I was back there when I thought I was stuffed, so.
Before I say another word, I'm going to put a disclaimer in front of my answers today. But this is a very passionate topic for me and Rad as well, and Phil. And there's a very high probability that I offend some people with what I say today, especially practitioners. And I know we have a lot of them in this group. We have a lot of physiotherapists. We have a lot of chiropractors. I have a lot of friends who are chiros and physios. But I believe this is one of the biggest problems with this industry. And I too have been told I had my worst injury was falling from a horse and quite severely hurting my back, my lower back. I also broke my arm and did a number of quite bad injuries in that one fall. And I've had many quite severe injuries along the way, dislocating my knee, playing soccer, breaking so many bones in my body. It's not even funny, and I've lost count. Severing muscles and tendons in my shins and my ankles and all sorts of crazy stuff. I've had motorbike accidents. I used to ride motorbikes a lot. I used to race cars. I've had a car crash where I hit a wall head on at 166 kilometers an hour, and couldn't see for a few days from concussion. Like, I've had some pretty traumatic injuries, and I've been told many times that it was the end of my sporting career or this or that. And look where I am now, and the thing is, and I've worked with a myriad of different practitioners who have all tried to say that I am stuffed or that something's wrong and that it needs to be tweaked and this and that. I have no problem getting remedial therapy for instant pain gratification. I call it spinal masturbation. I get it all the time and it feels great and I love it. And it is really good to keep you exercising, but that's what it does. It keeps you exercising. I think everybody has an obligation, not a right, not a choice, an obligation to function properly, to keep the bodies functioning properly through exercise. And that is a balance between strength, flexibility and fitness. That's what we're passionate about here. But let me be absolutely clear. Myself and Rad, I know for certain, I'm not 100% sure with Richard, but I'm fairly sure he would fall into this boat, and I'm fairly sure Phil, I've heard say the same thing. The moment we stop exercising, I'm talking about Rad and myself here, within a week or two, we are both in pain. We're both in pain in our backs. We're both in pain in the old injuries that come up. And it is far worse when we're not exercising than when we are exercising. Now, we're not impervious to hurting ourselves. We hurt ourselves all the time exercising. We go too far. We do something wrong. We don't warm up properly, and we get a little niggle here and there and a bit of pain, and then we overcome it. And it changes the course of our direction slightly, or might change our training mesocycle or program. But it is much worse when we're not exercising. And when I see something like this, it just fucking makes my blood boil, because this is the exact type of thing that stifles someone from choosing to exercise. This is like telling someone that they're twisted and they're out of alignment and this and that, and they need to be careful, when 9 times out of 10, if Josh is it his partner?
No, so it's about him.
It's him.
From
Okay,
Alison,
okay. If Josh just exercises and focuses on leveling up his strength, flexibility and fitness, 9 times out of 10, the problems that he's experiencing here will go away. His body will heal himself.
And he's saying here, he's saying it's interesting, training doesn't hurt. It's like, so basically when he's exercising, when he's got that dynamic stability, training doesn't hurt. But standing and basically everything but laying down is giving me grief. so he's exhausted by the end of the day. So this is just a really good example of, when you get presented with all these sort of fancy,
there's
scary...
also an add-on to this down further. If you scroll further down, there's another. He's added to the...
Yeah, sorry guys. When you're reading, Facebook tries to be a bit clever about how it places comments in a live stream discussion, and so it kind of mixes it up. So sorry about the mincing the reading out of it. But I think the important thing to say is, basically with it's really interesting that training doesn't hurt, and I'm not surprised by that at all, because it's basically when you're getting all these active structures to do their job, then the passive structures, i.e. the bones, the ligaments, the joints, don't take as much of the load. So standing, and particularly standing with like a slight bend for people if they're doing the washing up, or maybe even like sometimes with people who are working from home and standing at a certain desk where they're just like that little bit leaned forward, can be really challenging for people. And you just got to kind of strip things back and think about what the body's actually doing there. And when you're standing and especially with a slight lean, you're doing it like a long-term isometric holds in your body. So if we think about training specificity, it seems like you seem to be like progressing and your body's handling the movement kind of training quite well, but it seems to be that maybe like strength endurance is potentially lacking. And so one thing that you could try doing and see if you start getting relief is practicing a bit more isometric strength, particularly through the sort of trunk and muscles that keep you upright. So through your glute extensors, through your quads, and through your back, and hopefully with building up some of that strength endurance. So with an isometric contraction specifically, that could be quite nice for postural pain. So that's kind of a way of thinking about this. Is like you want to think about what the specific adaptation we're trying to get, and then use your training programming to tackle that specificity. Now that can be a bit of a trade-off, because it doesn't always align perfectly with your movement goals, because maybe you want to be training to be quick or more sort of muscle building, which is generally not going to lend itself quite as well to isometric training. But that's what we're hoping to impart in you guys, is like understanding the principles of training and how you direct your the stimulus appropriately to get the desired result. So.
And I can't find this post to save my life. I've been searching for it for 15 minutes.
It's not a post. It's comments in the
online
coaching video from Friday. Yeah.
Been sitting here the whole time going,
where is this? Yeah, where is this?
What the fuck is this post?
It's comments in the coaching video that we told Josh we'd talk about today, because it's specific to sort of injury.
Yeah.
But I really think like the value that can be added here is that life is due to the natural vicissitudes of life. Life is you can't plan for it. It is not something that you can. Like shit happens. There's I got a T-shirt at home with a slogan, "Shit happens," and it happens. And what Josh is experiencing here, I'm sure there's many people can relate to. It's just you have something going on in your body that is not right, and it's causing you pain. Now, in my opinion, nothing will fix that except a long-term commitment to strengthening your body, increasing your load capacity. I had a friend. I went and caught up with a whole bunch of my high school mates on the weekend. It happens rarely, a few times a year, and I always get pinged at the end of the table with someone asking me a question about their health, and which is good, because I can give some value. And one of my close friends is quite a competitive basketball player. He's a dad. He's my age. He's 40. And he has had some time away from playing basketball, and he's decided he wants to get back into it again. And he just went out and started training himself, not playing basketball, just training in the off season to prepare for the season every day. He went from nothing at all to going out and doing it every day. And he's got a little home gym set up. He works from home. And he said, immediately I got like this pain in my Achilles. And what he practices a lot of is jump shots. So he's jumping every single day. He does that for an hour or two, So he got some pain in his Achilles, so he went back to his home gym and he started doing with his barbell on his shoulders some calf raises, which is a great thing to do. And then he found that he got some pain in the front of his foot, so the opposing area of the tendons. And he said to me, "What can I do to stop that from occurring?" And I said, you got to understand that, like he said, what is it, do you think? Should I go see a physio? It feels like it's a strain or a tear or something like that, you know? And I said, what you've got a problem. And this goes for everybody. You've got a load capacity problem. When you introduce a new stimulus or a new load, and in this case, it looks like he's held a child for 5 hours or something like that, in an awkward position. You've introduced a new stimulus to the body that you do not have the load capacity for. In my friend Scott's case, it is jump shots every single day. No amount of gym training will help, you know, but it's not going to provide the identical stimulus. So what you need to do is progressively overload both your gym training and the basketball. The basketball isn't something you can just start doing like that every single day. He should have started doing it once a week, and then after a month of that, twice a week, and then after a month of that, 3 times a week. And over time, after 6 months, his body would probably be able to go out and take jump shots every single day. Yeah. And then that is coupled with or supported by the calf raises and some plantar and dorsiflexion loaded in the gym, which will help. But it's never going to simulate playing a basketball game. Yeah. And you can't really simulate. You could do all the farmers walks in the world, but you're not going to simulate holding a child for 5 hours. You know, from time to time, I go for a 5-kilometre walk from our house across the Harbour Bridge here in Sydney to a really nice area of the harbour, and I carry one of my sons on my shoulders, who's about 15 kilos, and from time to time, I overload my knee. I've got an old knee injury that I had reconstructed, and it starts to hurt, because nothing I do in the gym simulates carrying my child for 5 kilometres on my shoulders. It is a lot of load to the body, you know. So you just need to understand that just about every time you hurt yourself, it's a load capacity issue. So what's the answer? Get stronger. Just keep training for strength.
Yeah, and then understand like ways in which you can, tweak your exercise program and hopefully build your exercise program. And that's what we try and do with the UMS Progressions program, is teach you how to build the program that suits you. And so, for example, with, you know, if you are doing a lot of holding a baby, like holding a child in front of you, then maybe doing a mesocycle of front squats where you're developing that strength with the load that's pulling you forward, and you build that isometric extension strength while doing a concentric squat movement, concentric eccentric squat movement. That's a way you can kind of start to think about, like, hey, if this is a thing that I know that tweaks my back, here's ways in which I can build my program to, you know, kick the goal of developing my athleticism, but while also kind of, you know, getting the goal of being able to handle my lifestyle sort of thing. So that's the kind of, you know, the principles we want to start getting in your head about how you can tweak, like, you know, have like a primary goal, but then still feed your secondary goals by understanding, overload principles.
And the second best thing you can do, which is extremely close in effectiveness to what Phil's just suggested, because it is quite hard to understand how to load your body in the gym to support what you want to do specifically with specificity. So the second best thing you can do is just train for anatomical structural balance. And that tends to provide a platform that is going to support almost anything you do. But I just want to say, with Josh specifically, he has been training with us for he's gone through the foundations program, and he's only just started training in the progressions program. I think he's just done his first or second cycle of testing, which would mean that he's been training under the parameters of like what I would say are really good for, I don't know, 4 to 6 months, and he's also limited because he's training in a home gym, and I've seen the setup he's got. It is a limited setup. It's not ideal, you know. It's not like coming to Unity Gym or going to a proper kitted out gym. You need to understand that it takes time to build strength and flexibility. It's not something you can do properly, and it's going to solve all of your pain points in a few months, you know. It's something that you cannot, like, as much as I'd love to say, yeah, there's a 12-week challenge that's just going to change your life forever and you're never going to experience pain. It's bullshit. There's nothing out there that exists that's going to do that. You need to just get focused on the long game and go into it, you know. And we're going to talk about that a lot this week, because we're starting our season of podcasts with our mindset and motivation stuff, and how to set goals and how to reverse engineer. We're going to start that tomorrow. But you need to understand that you look at the long game and just focus on building that foundation: anatomical, structural balance, strength, flexibility, fitness. Cover all grounds so that you are well set up. This is why we train. You know, we don't train to be good at bench press. We don't squat to be good at squat unless you're a power lifter. We train so that our load capacity increases and we can go and do things without hurting ourselves. That's at least what I do.
Like your lever on the weekend. That was good.
Yeah, I've been playing around with that sort of stuff for a little while.
Happy days.
About 2 weeks.
And so just the last part of his question is basically asking thoughts on relieving the pain. And so just some parting advice on that. Like, it's obviously pain is such a tricky thing, and if you haven't listened to the chronic pain series, I definitely do recommend understanding the pain science, because it really does inform how you do things. But one thing I'll say is, like, and it seems like you're doing it, Josh, is that, you know, you really don't want to stop training. You want to try and, like, that's going to be the main thing with kind of back pain specifically. Like, you really want to make sure you are keeping on moving, keeping on giving like variability to your body, because that motion is motion, and it's so important to keep your movement practice up, but you just got to scale it back to a tolerable level that you can continue moving and training in some sort of way. And then, yeah, in terms of what helps with, you've sort of said here, it's like a spasm type of pain. And so generally with muscle spasm, where it really does tighten up quite acutely and you feel like you kind of just can't quite move, that's where it's generally a pretty good option for using some heat on it as a way of just like helping it relax and unwind a little bit. That can be in the hot shower and doing some, maybe even the spinal mobility like workout that they do here at the gym. So just even like spinal waves under a hot shower can be a really nice way of just using a bit of heat to facilitate movement in the back. But yeah, I think that's that kind of following that approach of motion is motion, and get the body moving is the way to go. And with the isometric stuff that I was talking about, isometric exercise is really quite good for relieving pain in tendinopathy sort of issues, and sometimes I find with people with back pain, just getting the area active is quite a nice way of just helping relieve that pain. So I'd definitely be giving that a go.
Yeah, my strategy when I'm in acute pain like Josh is experiencing here is that we have a very, very good chiro down the road, and I can't speak for all chiropractors because I know skills are skills and some people are really good at it. It's, I reckon, 1 in 10 times that he doesn't alleviate the pain dramatically when I go down there, which is enough to be able to get me back into the gym and continue on with my training. I also have Phil here, who's a brilliant massage therapist who I find really, really just helps calm it down, whether it's placebo or not. I don't care. It's enough to keep me going and keep me exercising. But the goal is always, I know, the goal is always to just keep me exercising, and then that usually sorts it out. The chiro and the massage is just an immediate. It's kind of like taking a muscle relaxant or a painkiller, Yeah.
And so in place of, I know Josh is in Melbourne, so in place of a massage therapist, we probably can't really be seeing them at the moment. Then doing some self-release with massage balls, like it's definitely worth trying. With muscle spasm, like self-release can be quite a helpful thing, but just remember that
is it on his lower back?
He says it's like kind of lower lat.
No, he said it's lat, so it's gonna be like one of those intercostal.
Well, no, he's sort of saying like lower back corner. The like it seems kind of. I'm thinking it might even be more kind of QL sort of area, like thoracolumbar fascia, where the lat attaches distally. So basically into your pelvis. But yeah, I think like trying a bit of self-release, but just remember with all this pain management stuff, it's all to facilitate movement.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I would do what Phil said there and dive into because he's got access to it, the Spine Mobility Masterclass as well. And just really dig right into that.
I'm going to say something real quick. This is a little bit of a shameless plug, but it's responded to several emails about this over the weekend, so I'm going to get it out there. For those of you that have been watching and didn't really understand what we meant, I've had people saying, I knew that you were saying that the UMS online coaching program, that if you sign up to it going forward, you won't get access to all the programs, but I didn't know it was going up to $97. That is what's happened. Yeah. So I'm going to give you guys one last chance, because what I realize is that Chris, who is our master of all things technical and building our funnels and everything that we do, we didn't actually give him the brief, and he's written in the current offer for the Flexibility Masterclass that you will get it included if you sign up to the UMS for $49 a month. So, of course, I'm going to honor what has been advertised. So if any of you are listening to this and you have been sitting on the fence, I guarantee you the next 24 to 36 hours, whatever's left on that offer, if you miss that, that is your last chance to get the UMS online coaching program for $49, including all of our programs. This is your last chance. So if you're listening to this, please don't send me an email in 2 days saying you missed the offer, because we are, for integrity, we honor the timers that we have. And people might say, oh, we get people giving us reasons as to why we should extend the timer for them. But in all honesty, that really is a slap in the face for anybody that took action and signed up while the timer was going, which is why we don't do it. It is not fair that we put these timers on these things to just extend them for anybody based on whatever their circumstances are. So guys, this is your last chance. If you want to get that UMS online coaching program for $49 a month, including everything else, then go to the Flexibility Masterclass, current sale, click on the subscribe to the UMS and get it all. Last chance.
Sounds good. And also, guys, there's a few more hours, I think, maybe one more day for the Flexibility Masterclass. It is a brilliant program. And remember, this Friday, I believe, the Phase 2 drops. And it is one of those programs where you do need to have done Phase 1 or you're going to find Phase 2 extremely challenging, probably too challenging. So we do recommend getting them and doing them in sequence. This is your last chance to get Phase 1 on sale. It is a third of the regular price. It's usually $149 US, and
it's actually usually $99 US, but with the added value that's included with it because of the other programs that come with it, it's like 20% or 15% of the regular cost. So, as always, great value. It's a really good way to get started with us. And if you don't like it, tell me and I'll give you your money back within 30 days.
There you go. There you go.
Well, yeah.
This is it. Bon voyage, Phil.
See you later. See you in mid-December. See you in mid-December sometime.
Yep.
But yeah, I'll be figuring out a way of recording some Physio Monday stuff. So if you do have any questions, do make sure you post it on the group and tag. And there was one thing about posting on the group that you wanted to say. Someone asked a question and you said this is exactly the reason to post on the group. Oh,
that's true. Yes. Very quickly, because this is really important. Where is he? Joseph Gilbert has said, not sure this is the place for this question, so please forgive me if not. I recently did a boot camp type workout. It was really leg intensive squat variations extra. Today I have that stiff leg walk BS. I know that stretching will give some relief enough to get through period of the day with more mobility, and that motion is lotion, but will this cause the recovery time to be prolonged? Okay, first and foremost, all I want to address here is, Joseph, this is absolutely the place for a question like this. I don't want anyone... It's been
kind of answered on the group already, but...
Yeah, I don't want anyone to ever be afraid of asking a question that's industry related. All we say is keep it on topic. We don't like people asking questions that are not related to health and fitness or motivation, that sort of thing. So,
but if it is, answer away.
Yeah, ask away. Absolutely. And just first on this one, to my knowledge, stretching is going to do absolutely nothing for DOMs.
Fact.
So movement is going to, and we did answer that. So anyone who's thinking, and time, yeah, that's right, exactly. Yeah. Good work, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. We're going to go. We've got some really good big stuff coming this week, so look out. See you soon. Bye-bye. Health is about performance, not just body image.
You better be willing to accept what you're going to have to do to get there.
We'll start focusing on movement goals, strength goals, flexibility goals.
When you nail that skill, that's there forever.
The body image goal doesn't get you that far.
It's the consistency and frequency that's going to get you there. It's not the intensity.
There's no shortcuts to mastery and movement. Destination doesn't change overnight, but your direction will.
The gym is not the place to beat up the body that you hate. It's the place to build the body that you love.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.